Joining me now is David Hawkings. He's the senior editor of Roll Call. And David, let's start with this. Do you think that there's anything valid in the president's assertions?
That it's become personal? I do, Arthel. I think that with every modern president who's won a second term, the party on the other side becomes really sort of frustrated and annoyed with the guy. I think that we saw that with the Republicans sort of had it out for President Bill Clinton personally. The Democrats had it out for President George W. Bush personally by the 5th or 6th years of the presidency. It has become personal for them. There's absolutely a faction of Republicans, the president is right, that really their objective is to weaken him, is to make sure that he does not go down as one of our better or even decent presidents. I'm not sure that's the majority faction on the Republican side. I think there's just as many people on the Republican side who have a genuine commitment to the notion that Obamacare is a terrible law and that it really needs to be taken off the books as soon as possible. I think it's a 1-2 punch, but there are definitely two factions there.
And the faction that the president is referencing is that far-right faction. So is there any way, David, to avoid a government shutdown, increase the nation's credit card limit, if you will, without defunding Obamacare?
I don't see how the Republicans are going to be able to pull this off. No, I don't. I do think that we're now seven or 8 days away. It's next Monday night, the 30th, when the government runs out of spending authority. I think that there's a strong argument to be made that there are enough of these junior Republican so-called Tea Party lawmakers that were not around 18 years ago, the last time the government actually shut down, who need to have it prove to them empirically that a shutdown does not work for them in the long run politically. They're going to insist on this strategy until the government shuts down, at least briefly, because they have been threatening this really since many of them got here 3 or 4 years ago, and they're not going to rest until they test this theory that they can bring the president to heel on this. And I don't think he's showing any opening at all to yielding in any way.
But David, if this is this game of stalling that, quite frankly, the American people are just really sick of, I mean, at what point, if in fact this far-right faction that you're talking about and the president referenced, if they're trying to stick it to the president and thus whoever falls along the wayside along with that, I mean, you know, how is this really going to play out? You've got the Senate, they're going to send the bill back to the House, of course, with reasonable cuts with Obamacare. So then what does the House do? Again, I think you agree that nobody's going to let the government shut down, correct?
Oh, I'm not sure. No, I think maybe I misspoke. I think there is a chance that when this bill comes back from the Senate, I think that what we expect is that the Democratic leader of the Senate, Senator Reid, will allow the debate in the Senate to last long enough so that the bill doesn't come back to the House until sometime next weekend, maybe even late next weekend. So there's really only a very short amount of time before the deadline for the Republicans to make their next move.
Right, but then we're back at the 11th hour like we always are. So then what happens?
And I think there's going to be a strong push by the most conservative Republicans to go right back to where they were yesterday, to take that bill, put the defund Obamacare language back in, and vote to send it back to the Senate again, at which point that would happen with not enough time left, but for the government to shut down at least briefly. And then the Senate would, the game is called ping pong, legislative ping pong, they would do just what they're about to do this week, strip out the defund Obamacare and send it back. I think after doing that once and seeing the public reaction, that is when I think John Boehner might be hoping that these revolutionaries, these Tea Party insurgent junior conservatives, will realize the strategy didn't work and will allow it to pass.
Let me see if I understand what you're suggesting, perhaps, and I have to go, but perhaps you're saying, listen, Speaker Boehner is saying, listen, you guys aren't listening to me. I've been trying to corral the troops to get them to get on board with this plan. So we're going to have to let this thing go down to the wire. You're going to have to get your hands slapped again by the public, and then you're going to learn your lesson that we can't keep playing games like this.
I think that's what the Speaker might have to, that might be his only viable alternative, and then tell his members, remember, as we've just been talking about, you have 2 more chances to attack this problem. You have the debt limit sometime between the end of October and early November. And then remember, this is just a temporary funding measure that only lasts until 2 Sundays before Christmas, December 15th. They can fight it yet again.
David Hawkings. My head hurts. Thank you very
Mine
much,
too.
sir.
Thank you.
David's so on point because the people we've been talking to say that, yes, this is a charade.
Yeah.
It's going to the second deadline. Instead of defund, it's delay.
Right.
So all of this is, just a bit of a tease, if you will.
The people are over it. I mean, that's putting
I think
it
they are.
lightly.
And Republicans, are now beginning to pay attention to the polling data. Oh, so important. In the meantime, new developments in the